Excel's printing capability is quite extensive and there are lots of options. It can be a little confusing at times, however, because we're going to be seeing similar terms located in different parts of the screen and certain features that you can get to in a variety of different ways. If you've never printed before, first thought might be, well, I've heard about print file tab, right? File, print. Sounds right. Well, you get a print preview and that's good. You might be a little surprised as you look at the bottom of the screen, and you should always do this. 52 pages, that seems like a lot. You can scroll up and down the list if you wish. Sometimes if it's large, it might take a while to get through this, but what could surprise you in this case here is, looks as if Excel's going to pick up maybe the left side of the screen, then the right side, and this is still going on. It's only like halfway through here, 25 pages. Where are we here? 30 pages. Excel is trying to print everything. You probably didn't mean that. Let's escape from here. I'm going to scroll to the right and point out that this worksheet has data way off to the right. Excel assumes you want to print everything unless you indicate otherwise, so we could approach this a little bit differently. Why don't we highlight the data we're interested in? Maybe we only want to print the data from column J leftward. We could click across this way, highlight that, and use what's called the Page Layout tab in the ribbon. There's some other printing choices here too. How about Print Area, Set Print Area? Then we could go into Print Preview. Another quick way to get to Print Preview, keystroke shortcut, Control-P. Here we are. You'll see this button to the right, show Print Preview. Now it says 34 pages. It looks like we're on the right path here. Again, kind of scrolling quickly through this, we get a sense of, we see the left side of our data, then the right side. It didn't go pick up anything to the right of that, so we're looking better there. What might we do next? Escape from here? Is hide some columns that we don't really need in our printout. Maybe we don't need this information here. Maybe not this one either. Now, sometimes, of course, you will want this, but certainly one thought at times, let's hide these columns. Print Preview again, Control-P, show Print Preview, 17 pages. That sounds about right for now. But how about those headings? That says printing. That's the name of the file that we're looking at. Let's escape from here. Our file name is 06 Printing. We're on this page layout sheet. So Excel's showing us stuff that we don't necessarily want on this printout that we're about to make. In the lower right-hand corner of the screen, in this area below the Sheet tabs, it's called the status bar. You might see statistics here if cells have been highlighted, but off to the right are 3 buttons. Normal View is what most of us use most of the time, but the next button over is called Page Layout. That's the same name we see at the top of the screen in a tab. Page Layout. Now we've got an image of the sheets here. If you click here, suddenly we see something kind of cryptic. What's going on here? On the Design tab up above, notice we've got a contextual tab here. We could be printing the file name, the sheet name, but maybe we don't want to. Take that out. Maybe we want the date, left side, right side. We got 3 different sections here. And by using some of the features up above, date, time, whatever, we can insert some automatic entries. Now, if you put in current date, there too, it looks a bit strange at first. On the right, I'll put in the current time. There's another button up there for time. But to see what these are going to look like, just click below it, down in the data. It's going to look like that. Maybe that's what we want. So let's do a Control-P again, see how that's looking. Show Print Preview, and we see the times there, dates. You'll come to realize that when you print, there's a lot of back and forth. And if you're going to be working with this workbook and worksheet a lot, most of the printing adjustments are done up front. You don't have to constantly redo this next time you print. So one other option here too that we want to consider, scrolling up and down, we're on page 2, page 3. What happened to the heading? Well, it's only on page 1. Once again, let's escape from here. And now we're going back to the top of the screen, Page Layout, the Page Layout tab from up here. Print Titles, you'd want to do that. Rows to repeat at top, click in here. And in the background, we can click row 1. Now, if we were on normal view, we'd be clicking in the same relative space. Right now we're in Page Layout view in the background. Print Preview is the button right here. Click it. There's page 1. I'm using the mouse wheel to roll. There's page 2, page 3, etc. So, and there's some other features off to the left that we didn't use. A lot of you are familiar with the term portrait and landscape. Landscape would not be a good choice here, but watch the screen. And now we see the data that way. At other times, of course, you'll reverse it. So not a good choice here. We go back to the other option, portrait. So at different times, you'll be making some adjustments over here. At some point, we will print. So different approaches to printing, starting perhaps with the Page Layout tab and also in the lower right-hand corner, the Page Layout view. And in the next movie, you'll see some other approaches to printing that begin with different commands and printing features. In this workbook, 06 Printing, the second sheet in is called Page Break Preview Sheet. That reminds us that there is a Page Break Preview button. It's located in the status bar at the bottom of the screen below the sheet tabs, off to the right. Button on the left is Normal. Next button over is Page Layout. You might have seen how that works in the previous movie. And then to the right, Page Break Preview. Usually when you make this choice, Excel zooms back a bit. Excel assumes that I want to print the entire active part of this worksheet. I'm going to scroll to the right. I didn't indicate what it is I wanted to print, but that is what happens when we choose Page Break Preview. On the far right, you'll see a blue line. The page numbering at first might strike you as strange. They refer to these as watermarks, but off to the left we see page 1, then page 18. So if I were to scroll down relatively quickly, page 1, 2, 3, etc., this goes down to page 17. Excel assumes I want to print everything, and of course I don't in this case. So what do? Grab that solid blue line on the right and just pull it in. I don't want to print any of that. Now, I certainly could if I wanted to, or print it later by itself. I'm going to cut it off right there. If I do nothing special now and print, you see what's going to be happening. Columns A through G will be printed one by one on all those pages. Then it'll jump over and print this part because it says page 18. Now, will this fit on the page and be readable? I don't know, but here's a dotted line. I'll click and drag it to the right. And let's go look at Print Preview. I can either press Control P, nice keystroke shortcut, or go to the File tab and choose Print. We'll be in the same place. There it is. It says 13 pages at the bottom. That's looking pretty good. Is that too dense, too tight? Can't tell from here necessarily. Not a bad idea. Print one page. Off to the left, print. Put in a 1 here, a 1 over there, and print just that, and then assess it. As you might have seen in a previous movie, sometimes what we do is just escape and decide, well, maybe some of these columns we didn't need to print. Then it won't look so crowded anyway. Maybe we don't need both compensations or the benefits maybe. Drag across here, right-click Hide. Let's reassess that print again. Control P, fast way to get there. Well, now it might look a little strange. Something else you can do, though, that makes sense at times, and you wouldn't instinctively go there, but when you're getting a print preview, off to the left, you'll see some choices, possibly make some margin changes. But I'm going to suggest, how about page setup? People who've used Excel for a while will recognize this dialog box. 4 tabs here, with lots of different choices. We could click margins and control the amount of white space on either side or on top. That can help in some cases. We could customize our header footer this way. We could go to the Sheet tab here, not show the grid lines, make some other choices. But on the Page tab, we might consider here, instead of this being 76, we could change this. Would this look better if it were 90? Or how about 100? What does that mean? We don't always know. Let's just click OK and watch our preview. 13 pages right now in the background. What is it now? 34 pages. That probably wasn't a great choice. So let's go back to Page Setup. Sometimes by altering this and jumping back and forth, it'll make some sense. I'll lower this to 90. One more time here. How's that looking? 16 pages, maybe that's the choice. But we're not always finished. We can go back to Page Setup, make some other choices. Now, oddly enough, if you're back in the Excel normal view, I'll simply press Escape here. On the Page Layout tab, this group of options here is referred to as Page Setup. We just saw that as the name of the dialog box. Click right here. We're back to here. So sometimes you'll make your choices here before getting the print preview. And after making a choice here, here's a print preview button. So maybe go to Sheet. Let's not show the grid lines. That has nothing to do with the regular display in the background, but our print preview will show this list without grid lines. That may or may not be your choice, but on the other hand, sometimes it might be. And once again, as we scroll here, something else that could be missing is that top row. So we could escape here. How about Page Setup here? Go to Sheet tab here. Rows to repeat at top. How about row 1? Click there. Print Preview. Back here. Back and forth. It's not uncommon to be making these choices, jumping back and forth between the preview and the actual printing. Sometimes you want to print just one page. But eventually you'll get it figured out which way is going to work best for you. And that Page Break Preview button in the lower right-hand corner is a good starting point.